When do I have to tell my employer that I have a disability? You only have to disclose your disability if you're facing an obstacle at work related to your disability. Otherwise, you don't need to tell anyone at work. Whether your disability is apparent to others or not, disclosure is a personal decision. You get to decide if, when, and how you disclose your disability and talk about it. Some people decide to disclose their disability at work because their disability is a key part of their identity, and sharing it allows them to be fully themselves at work. Others may decide not to disclose because they don't want to be treated differently. Let's hear from Ben and Cecilia, two employees with disabilities, about how they're deciding whether or not to disclose. Example 1. Ben.
I have a chronic condition that causes my muscles to weaken over time. Right now, it doesn't affect my daily life in any major way, but it is likely that I may need a reasonable accommodation in the future as typing on a keyboard is getting more difficult. I want to give my employer a heads up in case I do want to ask for a reasonable accommodation in the future. I'm very open about my disability in my personal life, and it's important for me to be open at work as well.
Example 2. Cecilia.
I just started a new job and I have a non-apparent disability. I don't need any reasonable accommodations. Because of a bad experience at my last job, I'm worried about being unfairly judged if I disclose my disability at my new job. Keeping my disability to myself makes me feel more comfortable and safe at work.
In considering disclosing, keep in mind three key things. 1. Who you disclose to matters. Your HR director and your manager are legally required to keep your disability information on a need-to-know basis. They are not allowed to tell your coworkers. If you decide to disclose to a coworker, keep in mind that they do not have an obligation to keep the information private. 2. If your disability means that you work best in a particular way, or it has the potential to make certain job tasks difficult, it is a good idea to disclose that early on. You can do this with or without mentioning your disability. Don't wait until after there has been a performance issue. 3. Telling your employer you have a disability is just sharing information about yourself. It does not require them to take any action. If you need a change to your work situation because of your disability, you will need to ask for a reasonable accommodation. Watch our other videos to learn how. Let's go back to our example scenarios with this information in mind. Example 1. Ben.
I've chosen to disclose my disability at work. I'd like to be open and share some things I've learned, such as taking short breaks to stretch. It makes work easier for me and may be helpful for my colleagues or anyone else. If I need a reasonable accommodation in the future, my manager and the HR team will already be somewhat familiar with my needs. I know they don't have to do anything until I ask for an accommodation, but this feels like it will pave the way.
Example 2. Cecilia.
I've chosen not to disclose my disability. I'm not required to since I'm not having any difficulty doing my job. If I build a closer relationship with my colleagues and feel comfortable, I might choose to disclose to them in the future. I'll keep in mind that they have no obligation to keep it private, only my HR director and my manager do.
For individualized guidance, visit mass.gov/mod/ContactUs or call 617-727-7440. Disclaimer. This video provides an introductory overview. Employment situations are often complicated and depend a lot on details of the situation. Please visit mass.gov/mod/disabilityrights for more details on when and how the ADA applies. None of our content should be considered legal advice.